Now, yesterday we told you Chris Eubank Jr has been ordered to appear in front of the British Boxing Board of Control to explain his use of a sauna to cut weight for his fight with Conor Benn. Use of saunas is banned by the British Boxing Board of Control. To talk about that and so much more, promoter and Matchroom chairman Eddie Hearn joins me. Eddie, big news yesterday. What's your initial reaction to it?
Yeah, I think that we have to really be in the real world of weight making. I mean, I was fined a few years ago by the British Boxing Board of Control for talking about a fighter using a sauna, but they need to understand there is obviously water manipulation in terms of making weight. I think the board, who do a great job in working on behalf of the fighter to protect their well-being and to make the sport as safe as possible, need to really look at the correct methods and the methods in general of making weight. The board also have a rule where you must make weight on the Wednesday before the fight at specific weights. And what you're seeing at the moment is fighters making weight on the Wednesday, rehydrating, and then making weight on the Friday. And a lot of specialists within that field feel like that's dangerous to the fighter as well. So I think Eubank, wanted to make a scene of how difficult it was for him to make his own weight and, how terrible it was that he had to go through these conditions and so forth, and it came back to bite him in the jacksie, and I think it's just a standard board procedure that any fighter deemed to be using a sauna, which is not permitted within its rules, will be brought before the British Boxing Board of Control. I think we do need a little bit of common sense and a sensible approach, because like I said, there is a science to making weight.
I've never known a fight week like it, Eddie. It was an incredible fight as well. Look, have you spoken to Conor Benn about this latest news?
No, I mean, Conor's currently on his 37th holiday. He's having a great time, still staying in shape and still ready. I think there's a lot of talk about that potential date. We saw the fixtures come out yesterday. Spurs are at home on the 27th. It's probably your next question. It does potentially bring him the 20th or October the 4th, and His Excellency will make that final decision on the date. But for Conor Benn, he's ready. He like I said, he's kept himself in shape. It's only, I think, 10 weeks on Saturday to September 20, so it's a fairly fast turnaround for these guys. But Conor's ready to go and chomping at the bit to go and amend that defeat.
How do you know that? That's be my next question.
Because I've known you for years, Bridget. You're very free.
Right, OK. Is it still going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, though? Like, Wembley would like it as well, wouldn't they? Or is it still going to be at Spurs?
Yeah, no, I think, His Excellency announced after that fight that we would be back at Spurs 20th or 27th. And it's a fantastic stadium and it's a great viewing spectacle for fight fans. Obviously, you do have Wembley, which is a bigger capacity, and we'll have to see what fits well with the dates. The first fight was huge, delivered huge numbers across pay-per-view, digital interactions, of course, bums on seats as well. And we know we could fill up Wembley as well for the rematch. So I think that the decision will have to come in the next week or so. And I guess His Excellency will make that decision when the time comes.
When I was writing these questions, these questions you didn't expect, someone said
I wrote for you, didn't I?
Yeah. So someone said to me, is this rematch, is it definitely going to happen, though?
Well, it's happening from our side. I mean, we signed a 2-fight deal for it to happen. It's one of the reasons that we took the fight in the first place was because of the opportunities to run it twice. I don't see any reason why Chris Eubank wouldn't want the fight. It's obviously a significant purse for him. The first fight was a thriller, one of the best fights I think Britain's seen in a long time. And now that Conor Benn has got that activity, which has plagued him for a long time, we believe he'll be stronger, sharper, and better in the rematch and looking to overturn the result. So in our mind, nothing else but a Chris Eubank Jr rematch and Conor Benn ready to go.
I will look forward to that. Another one of your biggest fighters. How is Anthony Joshua at the moment?
Yeah, good. He had that operation recently, the elbow surgery, which went very well. You'll see him from the end of October, November, December. Looking for that opponent in the top 10. Deontay Wilder, I think, fights next week. I know he's a name that's been mentioned. But, for AJ, like I said, I said last week, I think 2026 could be his last year in the sport, and it seemed to get headlines. But what else do you expect? I mean, that's 3 or 4 fights away. He can't go on forever, but he's motivated, physically feeling good now to return to camp and ready for one little last roll to this incredible career. Hopefully that involves a fight with Mr. Fury. But after he's finished, parading around in his kilt on Netflix, hopefully he joins us in the ring in 2026. It would be an incredible occasion for British boxing. But first things first, AJ will return during that period this year, and obviously he must win. And that performance will tell us a lot about the future of Anthony Joshua.
How many do you reckon then, Ed? Maybe 3 more, and then in an ideal world, the final one, Fury, ideally?
Yeah, I think if we don't make the Tyson Fury fight, it would be a big shame. I mean, look, there is a potential that AJ could fight Deontay Wilder in October, November, December, and then fight Tyson Fury. And then he's kind of got the full set in terms of every elite heavyweight of this generation he's faced in the ring. So for me, the Tyson Fury fight has to happen. I think there's no excuse now why that shouldn't happen. I think people are tired of hearing about it. Let's just get them in the ring. To see those two in the opposite corner would be an iconic moment for not just British boxing, for British sport. So, like I said, first things first, our comeback begins October, November, December. And then hopefully Mr. Fury's ready to rumble in 2026.
It's quite an open heavyweight division, though. Obviously, we've got the Usyk-Dubois fight coming up, but, Joe Parker's probably considering himself unlucky. Could you have a case for AJ winning one fight, then he gets elevated right back up there again?
Yeah, I think because of his profile, he's capable of landing any of these big fights at any moment. But you want to go into those fights, in great form. And I think that's why this fight coming up is going to be very important to him. You've got Daniel Dubois fighting Alexander Usyk. If he wins against Usyk, there is a chance that after our fight, maybe we run it back with Dubois, which would be for the undisputed heavyweight world championship. So anything's possible in the division during the fight and in between the fight. So, like I said, with AJ's profile, he can land whatever fight he wants. And the fight that he wants is Tyson Fury. We know right now that's not available. So we'll do our thing. But if it's not Fury, it could be Dubois. And there's a great crop of young heavyweights coming through. We know that older generation of heavyweight, which is Usyk and Fury and AJ, are in their final run. But don't rule them out just yet.
No, and you're in Birmingham at the moment for Galal, your fight against Francisco Rodriguez. That's going to be a great fight, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant card on Saturday. I mean, Galal Yafai, who's 9-0. He's fighting the former unified world champion, Rodriguez Jr. If he wins that, he'll fight Terrazas for the full WBC world title. Galal Yafai is all action, Olympic gold medalist, and just great to watch. That'll be a war. Conor Walker against Liam Taylor for the British and Commonwealth title. Peter McGrail against Baluta. Pat Brown, Giorgio Vizioli, Tia Ayton making her debut. Massive night of boxing on Birmingham, and the good times keep on rolling.
In the words of Chris Eubank Sr., Edward, thank you very much.
No, I think you meant something like stupendous.
Safe trip back to Essex. Thanks, Ed.
Cheers.